beautiful people, welcome to Let's Talk. This is your host Elle Marie. Thank you for tuning in for another true crime episode. Today we're going to talk about the unfortunate death of Ma'Khia Bryant. 16-year-old Ma'Khia Bryant lived in Columbus, Franklin County, Ohio. She attended Independence High School in Independence, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, and she was an honor roll student. Ma'Khia Bryant was a foster child under the care of Franklin County Children's Services, and she was placed under the supervision of her foster mother, Angela Moore. Her biological mother, Paula Bryant, who is a nurse assistant, and her cousin Donnie Bryant described Ma'Khia as a sweet child who promotes peace and had a motherly nature about her. Her cousin Donnie said Ma'Khia was a sweet soul, bubbly girl who loved her mother very much. Her Aunt Hazel Bryant described her as a loving girl with issues, but did not deserve to die that way. The day Ma'Khia died, she emailed her business education teacher, Austin Owens, about her 5-year plan. Mrs. Owens stated Ma'Khia desperately wanted better for her life based on the language she used. In February 2017, according to the Children's Services document outlining the case, Paula Bryant, the biological mother of Ma'Khia, took her and her 3 sisters to an agency office and said she was at her wit's end and could no longer handle the girls. In 2018, Paula Bryant had moved with her 5 children, including her teenage son from a previous relationship, into a West Columbus house. She described herself as raising the children largely on her own. According to their neighbor, Adriana Douglas, a pastor's wife who lived 2 doors down from the Bryant's family, that year recalled the fights between Paula Bryant and her 4 daughters. Adriana Douglas stated, "The girls ran out of the house terrified and were hanging out in the backyard screaming while the mom was yelling at them." She said she was worried for the girls' safety. The family had been on the radar for Children's Services for several years due to repeated complaints about the youngest children's missing school. During an argument between Paula and her daughters about bedtime, one of Ma'Khia's younger sisters ran out of the house for help. When the officers came, the girl accused their mother and their half-brother of physical abuse, which she denied the allegation. Paula said the kids were kind of rebelling in the home. She was detained by the officers and the children were taken from her. In February 2019, a magistrate judge dismissed the abuse claims against Paula Bryant, but found that she had neglected the children according to the court document. After they were moved out of Paula's home, the children stayed with their grandmother Janine Hammonds for 16 months until she was evicted by the landlord when they found out the girls were living there. The grandmother did everything to keep the girls from going to a foster home, but the Franklin County Children's Services denied her request. In December 2019, Janine submitted a petition to the court for the girls to return after she found a stable home, but it was rejected. Although the court's reasoning is unknown, the Children's Services Agency had reported to the court that Janine had failed to meet all the children's needs. According to Yahoo News, the grandmother received $1,200 a month only for the 4 girls when they lived with her. Yahoo News reported, service agency offer far less support to family members who agree to take care of children in need. The per diem allowance paid to licensed foster parents are often 10 times greater than the public assistance paid to relatives. The 4 sisters were separated. Ma'Khia and her younger sister Janiyah moved through a half-dozen living situation before ended up at Moore's house, their foster mother, on Leon Lane, not far from where their grandmother Janine lives. Weeks before the shooting, Janiyah called 911 and said she didn't want to stay at the foster home anymore because of the threats and the fights between the girls in the house. And her sister Ma'Khia have only been living there for a year, but the police officer says there was nothing that they could do about it. Since 2017, more than a dozen 911 calls have been made from the Moore foster home seeking help with her foster children because she has been unable to control the children. Ma'Khia Bryant said Moore's house had become increasingly tense. In the weeks leading to the fatal incident, Ma'Khia said Moore had accused her and Ma'Khia of stealing the food stamp card. She said Moore sometimes left them unsupervised or with former foster children, now women in their 20s, whom Ma'Khia said berated them and mocked her older sister Ma'Khia's speech impediment. 24-year-old Nicholas Readon lives in Sunbury, Delaware County, Ohio. He went to Bishop Watterson Catholic School. He was a member of the wrestling team, and he graduated in 2016. In October 2016, he graduated on an 8-week basic military training at the Joint Base San Antonio Lakeland in San Antonio, Texas. He is a U.S. National Guardsman, a recipient of an expert marksman badge with an M4 carbine. In December 2019, he became a Columbus Division of Police officer. In 2015, he was charged with a traffic offense in Franklin County, Ohio. According to Refinery 29, a former classmate from high school who decided to stay anonymous said Nicholas was never a think of your feet guy, but a scrawny white kid with anger management issues. His father, Edward Ted Reardon, is a U.S. Air Force for 32 years. In 2019, Ted was the basic training sergeant at the Columbus Police Academy and was honored at an Ohio State University football game in Columbus. On April 20, 2021, Columbus police responded to 911 calls of a disturbance at 4:30 p.m. to the 31st block of Legion Lane, north of Chatterton Road. According to Interim Chief Michael Woods, a caller reported females were trying to stab them. A dispatcher tried to obtain more information, was unable to before the calls was disconnected. The footage released by police came from the first officer on the scene. In the video, the teen appears to attempt to stab 2 people with a knife before Nicholas Readon shot and killed 16-year-old Ma'Khia. Ma'Khia was rushed to the hospital and was later pronounced dead. Chief Woods also stated police training allows officers to use deadly force if they witness someone using deadly force against another person. He continues, officers are trained to continue to shoot their firearms until any deadly threat is eliminated. According to Yahoo News, Ma'Khia Bryant, the younger sister of Ma'Khia, called 911 on April 20th, 2021 for help because 2 grown women by the name of Shanta, Craig Watkins, and Tiana Bonner were trying to fight them and their grandmother and trying to stab them. 12 minutes after Nicholas arrived, he shot and killed Ma'Khia. Ma'Khia's family stated that she was only trying to defend herself and her grandmother after the 2 ladies threatened to beat them and stab them with a knife. Ma'Khia felt like the 2 women disrespected her grandmother by speeding her way. Second before Officer Nicholas arrived, Ma'Khia grabbed a knife and threatened to stab the ladies. According to the Baltimore Sun News, Ohio places children in foster care at a rate of 10% higher than the national average, and child welfare officials here are considerably less likely than in the country as a whole to place children with their relatives. Black children, like the Bryants, account for nearly 1/3 of children removed from homes, nearly twice their proportion in the population. And according to Yahoo News, the treatment of Black children by Ohio's foster care system is already under scrutiny. Last month, a review ordered by Republican Governor Mike DeWine found it was infused with racial inequity. According to the news, in 1999, the Justice Department under Clinton administration filed a police misconduct lawsuit against Columbus, alleging there was a pattern of practice of excessive force, false arrests, and illegal searches and seizures. It followed an investigation by the department's Civil Rights Division in 1996 and sought to improve the training of officers and investigate civilian complaints. In 2002, the Justice Department reached an agreement with the city after it made changes in its policies and procedures, including for use of force. But community activists says relations have worsened since then. Data from a city-commissioned study on the police department showed that Black residents accounted for about half of all use of force incidents from 2015 to 2019, while making up 28% of the city's population of 900,000, the Associated Press reported. The Columbus-Franklin County, Ohio community was shaken and saddened by the death of 16-year-old Ma'Khia. Chief Wood said Ma'Khia's death was a tragedy, and there is no other way to say it. It's a 16-year-old girl. Director of Columbus Department of Public Safety, Ned Pettis said, "My heart breaks for the family tonight." 16-year-old Ma'Khia was laid to rest Friday, April 30th at the First Church of God in Columbus, Ohio. According to Yahoo News, many use of force experts and even some civil rights attorneys have said the officer followed his training and may have saved the two women that Ma'Khia was attacking. The National Fraternity Order of Police called the shooting an act of heroism, but one with tragic results. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.